In this moment, Ted Lieu lays out exactly why Americans have the right to film, witness, and document ICE operations, and why that evidence may matter far more than people realize right now.
Thank you, Congressman Ted and Omar, for putting together this important hearing. I have some questions for Mr. Mayel. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution gives the American people the right to peacefully observe ICE operations, correct?
Thank you for your question. Yes, that's right.
The First Amendment to the United States Constitution gives American people the right to photograph and film ICE operations, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution gives American people the right to peacefully live stream ICE operations, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I want to thank the people of Minnesota and the American people for exercising their constitutional rights. The Trump administration has sent a paramilitary force that is poorly trained, who cowardly wear masks, to states across America, including in Minnesota, to try to harass, intimidate, scare the people. And they want you to bend the knee and to yield. And the people of Minnesota said, hell no, we're not doing that. Every time ICE and Border Patrol engage in what appear to be abusive operations, more Minnesotans show up. Every time ICE and Border Patrol engage in what appear to be violations of federal law, more Minnesotans show up. Many of us here were at a meeting with the community leaders last night who said over 20,000 Minnesotans have now been trained as legal observers. So, Ms. Maya, I want to ask you this question. When people photograph and film and live stream ICE, that tends to make them more accountable because they're being watched, correct?
That's correct.
And even more important, people are gathering and preserving evidence that can be used in future cases. Is that correct?
That's right. I mean, it protects the right to photograph and video police conduct, and because it's the right to gather information about what public officials do on public property, and because it's about the right to record matters of public interest, which is being protected.
I simply want to note that midterm elections are in less than a year. There will be new presidential elections in less than 3 years. The statute of limitations for violations of federal law is 5 years. And while this administration may not hold anyone accountable, I guarantee you a future administration will. Yes. So thank you for not bending the knee, not yielding, and for photographing, witnessing, live streaming ICE and showing what ICE and Border Patrol are doing so American people can see this. And now I want to just give some words of hope, and I fully understand what I'm about to say is of little comfort to people who have already been unlawfully detained, abused, and injured by ICE and Border Patrol. But you need to know the Trump administration has already lost. Abraham Lincoln said public sentiment is everything. With it, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. The Trump administration has lost the public's sentiment on ICE and Border Patrol and immigration. Multiple polls confirm this. According to a Navigator poll recently put out, 57% of American people now view ICE unfavorably. Only 37% support, 20 points underwater. A CNN poll came out showing that 51% of American people believe ICE operations are making cities less safe. Only 31% believe ICE is making cities more safe, 20 points underwater. And an AP poll came out showing 61% of American people now disapprove of Trump's immigration policies. Only 38% approve, 23 points underwater. And all of us here are here today to let the people of Minnesota know that you are not alone, that the Constitution protects you, and you are on the right side of history. I yield back.
What Ted Lieu did here was more than ask questions. He pulled back the curtain on how power is supposed to work in a constitutional democracy, and why what we're seeing right now is not normal, not lawful, and not sustainable. At the core of this exchange is something very simple, but very dangerous for an authoritarian-leaning government: public accountability. Ted Lieu methodically walks everyone through the First Amendment, not as an abstract idea, but as a living, enforceable protection. Americans have the right to observe government action. They have the right to record it. They have the right to live stream it. And critically, they have the right to do all of that precisely because government power, especially armed power, must never operate in darkness. That's why this moment matters. ICE is not just enforcing immigration law, it is exercising state power with weapons, detention authority, and the ability to deprive people of liberty. When agents hide behind masks, refuse to identify themselves, and operate with minimal transparency, that should alarm every American, not just immigrants, not just activists, but anyone who understands how democracies collapse. Lieu makes it clear the Constitution does not disappear because an agency claims national security or border enforcement. What's especially important is the part many viewers might miss if they're not listening closely. Lieu isn't only defending the right to film ICE operations as a matter of free speech, he's explaining why that filming has real legal consequences. Documentation creates evidence. Evidence survives administrations. Evidence outlives political power, and evidence is how accountability eventually happens, even if it doesn't happen right away. When Lieu references the statute of limitations, that's not rhetorical flair. It's a warning grounded in law. Federal violations don't vanish just because a friendly administration is in office. 5 years is a long time in politics. Presidents change, attorneys general change, public sentiment shifts. And when that happens, video footage, live streams, and recorded testimony become the foundation for investigations, prosecutions, and civil suits. That's why his statement that a future administration will hold ICE agents accountable lands so hard. He's not promising vengeance. He's stating reality. Law enforcement officers who violate constitutional rights don't get immunity just because the current political climate protects them. History is full of examples where accountability arrived late, but it still arrived. Lieu also does something else that's strategically important. He reframes power. The Trump administration wants Americans to believe resistance is futile, that ICE is untouchable, that federal force is absolute. Lieu flips that narrative by pointing to public opinion. Poll after poll shows ICE underwater with voters. The majority of Americans now view its actions as excessive, abusive, and counterproductive. That matters because legitimacy is the real currency of power in a democracy. Once public trust collapses, enforcement becomes harder. Oversight becomes inevitable, and political cover disappears. And then there's the human element. Lieu acknowledges the pain of people who have already been harmed, unlawfully detained, injured, or traumatized. He doesn't minimize that suffering, but he also offers something essential in moments like this: clarity. The administration may still be wielding force, but it has already lost the moral argument. And once public sentiment turns, the machinery of unchecked power eventually grinds to a halt. This is why filming ICE matters. This is why showing up matters. This is why refusing to bend the knee, as Lieu puts it, matters. Not because it feels good, but because it preserves the historical record, because it keeps the Constitution alive in practice, not just on paper, and because authoritarian tactics only succeed when people stop watching. The takeaway here is simple but profound. Accountability is not optional in a democracy, and it cannot be permanently suppressed. You don't need to win every battle today to be on the right side of history. You need to document, preserve, and stand firm in your rights. That's how the system eventually corrects itself. And that's the quiet truth underneath Ted Lieu's message. The administration may still be in power, but the clock is already running out.